Go.
Hey guys, Transylvania 7 Summits here. We're getting ready for the Aconcagua climb. We're going to have it in 2 weeks. I'm leaving to Buenos Aires. I'm just making sure that I have all the equipment here. I would like to go through the equipment. There are some parts missing. I will be renting it in Argentina, in Mendoza, so I will put it on the blog as well. I will also put a list with the price of the things and also which brands I have. So what I recommend is we take it a bit from the top to bottom or from the bottom to top. Let's start with the feet. So as you can see, I got several types of socks here. I always use a liner sock. This is synthetic. Liner sock is good because when you have two socks together, you don't have so much friction on your heels in the boot. So I have a synthetic liner sock. And then, depending of course on how the weather is, for a summit day, I would have a first layer of socks. As you can see, it's fairly long, and then a second layer on top of that. This one is merino wool, both of them. This one is Solomon. Yes, it's from the company Solomon. Merino wool is excellent because for some incredible reason it doesn't stink after so many days of climbing. So the sweat leaves it quite well. It breathes naturally, but also it doesn't keep the stench over time. So for the summit day, I would recommend to have first one synthetic liner sock, and then two layers, a medium layer, and then like a really thick layer of merino wool. And then if we go from the sock upwards, the first base layer for the legs. Here, as you can see, I have once again merino wool. I really like this material. I used this one on Mont Blanc this year. It performed excellently. Also the same principle as for the socks. It lets the body heat flow away from the body, and also it doesn't accumulate the stench. And then if we go, let's say on the summit day, I will also use a second layer. This is a Polar Tech layer. It's fleece, as you can see it. I've used this one on Mount Elbrus and Mount Kilimanjaro as well, because there the temperatures were lower than on Mont Blanc. So that would be my second layer for the summit day. And also the external shell. This is not Gore-Tex, this is Omnitech. It's a specific material made by Columbia. I used this one this year on Mont Blanc. It's completely waterproof, but it also lets the sweat leave the body, so it breathes really well. So as you can see, we have the feet covered and the legs as well. Coming over on this side, when we approach the mountain, a lot of people, they like to use normal set of hiking trousers. I particularly do not like hiking trousers that much. So what I do, I always have one synthetic layer of tights, and then on the tights I also put one synthetic layer of short pants. For me, I think it's a more comfortable option when you approach the mountain, but of course you can also use a normal pair of trekking pants. And I would use a synthetic base layer when we approach the mountain. These are really inexpensive. They're also really good because they dry incredibly fast. I have several layers of this, so I always keep one extra layer just to make sure that if I get too sweaty after a couple of days of climbing, I always have something extra and warm to dress up with. Now, coming over to this side, for the upper body, I once again, for the base layer, I chose the same material. It's merino wool. This one is from Stoic, the company. I used it for the leggings as well. And afterwards, depending of course on which day are we climbing and how cold it is outside, I just bought it right now, a North Face soft shell windstopper. It's really good because it's really light material. It also breathes quite well, but also it protects you from medium wind. And of course I have 3 different layers of fleece as well. Now of course if you have the base layer, you have the windproof soft shell, If you do the summit, then I would probably recommend maybe 1 or 2 more layers of fleece, but not more than that, because you will be overdressed. This one is from Sprayway. I still remember, I think I got it in Norway. This one is from Geographic Norway. This is one of my favorite fleeces because sometimes I also use it instead of a jacket in camp. And this one is from Stormbird. And then just before the summit day, of course, we need to have a shell as well. It's the same type of shell as the pants. This is Columbia. Once again, it's breathable, also water resistant. And then for the summit day, what is extremely important, and I acquired this summer. It's not brand new. I actually got it from a guy who used it a bit, but it's still in mint condition. It's a North Face down jacket. It's with an 800 goose feeling. So it's extremely warm, extremely well insulated. I'm 190 pounds, so around 88 kilos. This is a size M. It fits me perfectly, even with several layers underneath. So for my size, I recommend a size M. And this is, of course, only for the last day, because this is luckily nice and warm. As you can see, it also has a place where you can put the bottle inside so the water won't freeze. It also has an extremely nice and warm hoodie that covers everything. Of course, when we approach the mountain, coming now to the shoes and to the extremities of the body, instead of a normal lightweight hiking boot, I will use these shoes. They're Gore-Tex. They're from Asics or Asics. They're luckily trail running shoes. I also use it for trail running. They have a really good grip. I've used it on mountains before, so they perform excellently on the at lower altitudes. Then I have the classic La Sportiva Nepal Extremes here. I love these boots. They carried me on Mont Blanc, on Mount Elbrus, and Mount Kilimanjaro as well. These boots, however, are not enough for the summit day, so I will probably use it up to 6,000 meters. And then once I'm in Mendoza, I will also rent a pair of double plastic boots. A lot of my friends recommend the Koflak Arctics one, which unfortunately I couldn't acquire here. It's a lot more fashionable in the United States. Or the new Spantic ones. They're not double boots, but they're with this new combined technology, and they're actually lighter than double boots, but offer you the same protection. And then for the hands, for the lighter days when it's warmer outside, I will just have a normal pair of gloves, which have let me just see what is the name of this material. Exactly, Thinsulate. So the Thinsulate material, this I would say to like 5 degrees above freezing. And then I have this double pair of gloves. It has an internal lining which you can remove. And then an external waterproof one. This is from Black Diamond. It's a really good company as well. I used it on all 3 of my climbs. From my experience, what I can say is that when we were on Kilimanjaro, on the summit day, it hit, the temperatures actually dropped to minus 32 Celsius, which is almost minus 40 Fahrenheit. And at that temperature, I could feel a bit my hands getting cold. So for Aconcagua itself on the summit day, which can be extremely cold, down to minus 40, and even with the wind chill, almost minus 50, I will also use a pair of double mittens. I will rent them in Mendoza because for some reason in the Netherlands, where I live currently, it's extremely expensive. It's more expensive than in the United States. Then for the head, always for the lower altitudes, I have this nice hat. I always choose a hat that protects the ears as well because you're exposed to the sun for quite a lot of time. And then as we move up, of course, you can also use this one, for example, for the face to protect it at lower altitudes, to protect it from the sun. And then at higher altitudes, I have this one from Outdoor Research. It's a really nice windproof hat. I would not overuse the hats because the rangers require to have a helmet on Aconcagua. So because you need a helmet, you have to make sure that you have a type of hat that fits really snugly on your head. This one fits really snugly on my head. on my head, and then you can put the helmet on it as well. And then, depending, some people recommend balaclava. I don't like the balaclava too much, but you can still use it as a hat. Or for the face, I call this the Hannibal Lecter mask. I got this in Russia. It really protects the nose well. You still can breathe through the nose and the mouth, and then you attach it at your neck. So that covers, of course, the face and the head. Just one thing I forgot, for the legs, I got this year and I used them on Blanc Blanc. They were excellent. They're from the Swedish company Fjäll Raven. They're really nice, heavy-duty gaiters, completely waterproof as well. The leg also breathes. As you can see, it has a nice strap as well where you can strap it to the boots. And then I have a 12-point fast attachable pair of crampons as well. As you can see, these will attach extremely well to these boots, also to other double boots like the Koflax. I have a fairly big foot, so that's going to be a 12.5 in US, 47 in Europe. They're extendable as well. As you can see, I use them. You don't need to use them on Kilimanjaro, but I use them on Mount Elbrus and on Mont Blanc. Probably we might need them on the last day on Aconcagua as well, but that will depend whether it snows enough or not. And then for the eyes, I always make sure that I have a trustworthy pair of glasses. This is Jalbo. I think they're pretty much one of the best ones on the market. It's a Spectron 4 glass. Make sure that you have Spectron 4 because the the amount of UV exposure at that altitude is fairly high. I will also need to rent a pair of ski goggles, also Spectron 4, but the ski goggles you only need them at the last day for the climb as well. Then I have, of course, my cooking utensils, thermos for the water. Always make sure that it will not freeze. I used them on all 3 mountains. It kept my water nice and warm. It's always advisable to drink slightly warm water and not cold water during the climb. For the long, boring days in the campsites, always get a nice book as well. I got the book of Kon-Tiki with me, a nice adventure book. Make sure you have plenty of plastic bags as well to store some of the equipment so it doesn't get wet. I have my pocket knife, of course, music as well. Make sure you got plenty of sunscreen with a 40, 50 or 60 factor because the UV rays are way stronger at that point. Just as a matter of precaution, I also put a really 100% proof raincoat. I'm not sure if I will use it, but it doesn't take up too much space. And then for sleeping, I have an air mat, which I will use in the tent itself. This is quite a good one. I used it before. It performs excellently. And for the sleeping bag, you need a sleeping bag that withstands minus 30, 40 degrees. So what I will do, because these sleeping bags cost around $1,000 each, brand new, I will actually rent one in South America. My current sleeping bag, I slept with it in minus 20, but I need something sturdier than that one. Also, as you can see, I will have my eye sacks. This is a 70 centimeter one. It fits my height of 181 centimeters, so always make sure that they fit your height as well. I got my trekking poles, and then just to make sure you got enough bags as well, I have a 100-liter duffel bag. This will be for the donkey ride. It will go on the back of the poor donkey. Then I have a 75-liter one. It's advisable to have 80, but 75 will be fine as well. Bigger backpack. This one is not a waterproof material, so I got from Löwe Alpine this waterproof layer on it. And then this one, I got it for my climb on Mont Blanc. My outer bag, it's from a Danish brand called Asivik. I really like it. It's a nice sturdy bag. It's 40 liters plus. So make sure that you have 3 bags with you. The 100-liter duffel bag, the 40-liter backpack, and then the 80-liter backpack. The 40-liter backpack, this one you will be using it most of the time. Also on the summit days. Make sure that they are fairly sturdy on the back as well. And then of course the last one, depending on what you want to take up. Maybe you want to take up the list of all the people who helped you, go on the on the expedition, or your sponsors or your promoters. But what I will do, I'm a regionalist, so I will take the flag of Transylvania as well. So thank you very much for watching. This is Transylvania 77.